Hello, Jacob. This will be some final video feedback for you. You've come a long ways. I particularly like your ability to implement the corporate typeface, the Gaudi Old Style. And I see that you have it floating over photographs on your home page, and it is still editable. So that's really commendable. And so what that means to me is that you're able to bring your web typography close to your print typography. And of course, instituting corporate style would mean being consistent with your typographic presentation from media to media or platform to platform. So good job on that. Jacob, I'm looking at this in about an 800 by 1200 pixel window using Chrome on a Macintosh. So here's how it presents to me at 100%. Here's what I was referring to in implementing the corporate typeface. These beautiful Gaudi Old Style italics floating over your image. And, if we were to do this in Photoshop, let's say you made a typo, think of how difficult it would be to correct the typo if this was a composite Photoshop file than it is to have, to go back into the HTML and say, oh, I misspelled this wrong, or this is the new price for such and such an item. I like the way that your photographs bleed off the edge. Consider having the photographs butt up to each other, the bottom and the tops also. I think there's a better solution than a box around the logo. I'm not sure what that might be, but also consider making your logo transparent, like an SVG file. Now, these are all, minor criticisms. There's so much to like about this. You've got a footer. You have a fully functioning navigation with drop downs. Let's see, do you have child pages for that? Fair enough. That you even have a placeholder, because this is third level. You have the menu page, and then you have the drop downs. That's a lot of work, but I think it bodes well. And again, here you are. I see the corporate typeface, or one of them at least. There are two. I think one of them is a slab serif, like the Pasta Amore. This typeface has a name. It might be good to have the heads in the slab serif and the text or smaller heads in the Gaudi Old Style. Good that it looks like you're thinking about padding, cell padding. Try to move this even further away from the edge, and it's difficult, but try to limit the line length. This is an awfully long line to read at 100%. Now, of course, the user can zoom in, but then other things, get out of whack. So, but you have all the ingredients. And I think it's just studying CSS and the many, many things you can do to affect your original vision. Great job. Jacob, I'm going to look at your code next. Interesting. I see. What is this? All right. Is this host code? It looks like that. What is your server? Okay, you're using WebHost app. Did you perhaps cut and paste this? Normally this appears at the bottom of the page. I see that the host code is appearing in several places, and so it's particularly admirable that you've been able to function through it. Have you just ignored it? Now here's another script, which I'm assuming is this sometimes happens if you cut and paste code from a live view. You'll get the host code. Just want you to be aware of that. You probably don't need it, but on the other hand, I don't want you to delete something that is making or allowing your page to function. Just be aware of it. Back to sitemaps. Well, I know that you wouldn't have gotten a navigation scheme without a simple list of pages. And let me look through it here. Well, Jacob, I'm embarrassed. I was looking at the Brightspace page, the code view of the Brightspace page, which sometimes happens. And so, how nested is that? So here's your proper HTML page, much more of what I would expect. I see you have an external style sheet, and you have begun to designate your styles. This seems to be working. It doesn't seem to be working for everybody. The way the font family, exactly this formatting. Sometimes students have had to put quotation marks around the typeface name, but however you've done it, you've got it to work. And what I really admire is that you've gotten it to float over images. I can't extol you enough about that. Curious to see how you've got your page, your menu, because I know you have got a third level, this drop down. Fair enough. So there are placeholders, if you have time this week, maybe flesh some of them out. I wouldn't expect you to be able to flesh all of them out. And know, too, that if you took the publication design class that gave you a menu, printed version, one solution, of course, is to have just a single link to that embedded, or have that embedded in your web page, either as a PDF, viewable PDF, or as a JPEG image. But anyway, there's several solutions to that. If you decide to format your menu using CSS and HTML, again, very admirable, but it's a tall order. So I wouldn't expect that for you to even be exemplary. But it's up to you. It's good practice, certainly. All right, so you have fully, well, not fully fleshed out, but you have a full set of child pages, 5 links. It's very ambitious, especially with the drop down. And your navigation seems to work very well. Jacob, this is what you had submitted, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed to say, a week ago. And you have some evidence of browser testing. Here it is in Chrome, looks like. And just, to show you how far you've come. Well, so that looks good. Yeah, Browser Shots itself is problematic, and it gets stalled when there's a lot of requests from the same URL, and which in this case it's either GeoCities or the web host. I see you've also tested it in Firefox. Good job. And then let's go back to your wireframes here. The idea was to, in this week 6, was to revisit your wireframes and perhaps annotate them for changes that you might want to make moving forward. Zoom out of this. So you envision some scrolling, it seems to me, in all of these, and you have been true to your wireframes down to these intervals between images. In general, I would tend to butt images up to each other and avoid these tense rivulets or channels of white space or background image space. And also, if you can, and it's not too difficult, if you can get your images to bleed off the edges of the page, and then test them out on a portable device such as your phone, you'll see that that makes a cleaner presentation probably than having margins. Now, with type, of course, you have to have cell padding. So I'm not suggesting that you ever run your type up to the edge of either side or to the top. This overall, Jacob, this looks great. And I just wanted to say, I also wanted to note that you have secured a host. And have you thought more about how you might organize your files? Just curious. Think of, it also has repercussions in our day-to-day file management too, and there's a lot to be learned, I think. I look forward to seeing the refinements you might make throughout the week, and if I can help you with anything, particular hurdle, don't hesitate to reach out.